She mocked me at her office banquet, calling me the boring husband. Moments later, her boss handed me a card and whispered, "You deserve someone who sees you." When my wife realized what just happened, the room fell silent. I'd built my environmental consulting firm from nothing into a seven-figure operation helping Fortune 500 companies transition to renewable energy, but somehow Lauren had convinced me I was the lesser partner in our marriage. The prestigious Financial Services Awards ceremony in Miami should have been our night to celebrate together, a chance for her colleagues to see the successful man she'd married. Instead, I found myself standing awkwardly by the champagne fountain while my wife introduced me to her colleagues as my boring husband who does something with trees. The dismissal in her voice cut deeper each time she said it, like she was apologizing for my very existence at her important event. "Kevin handles environmental stuff," she'd explain with a wave of her manicured hand, "nothing as exciting as investment banking like what we do here." I watched her eyes light up when discussing her colleagues' achievements in corporate finance, the same enthusiasm completely absent when anyone asked about my renewable energy projects. The irony wasn't lost on me. Half these financial firms were desperately seeking environmental consultants to help them meet new sustainability requirements, yet Lauren presented my expertise as irrelevant hobby work. "Lauren, your husband must have insights on our new green finance initiatives," suggested one of her senior managers, gesturing toward me with genuine interest. "We're looking to expand our ESG portfolio significantly this quarter." I stepped forward, genuinely excited to contribute to a conversation where my knowledge was actually valued for once. "Actually, I've been helping major corporations optimize their carbon credit portfolios and implement sustainable infrastructure transitions that have generated over $200 million in documented cost savings this year alone. Kevin, could you get me another glass of wine?" Lauren interrupted, her smile tight and artificial as she placed her hand on my arm dismissively. "And maybe some of those little appetizers from the back table? The adults are talking serious business here." The humiliation burned through me as I realized she'd been systematically making me feel inadequate for years, turning my professional accomplishments into embarrassing side projects that interrupted real conversations. During conversations about sustainability investments where my expertise was directly relevant, she'd literally turn her back on me or redirect attention to her accounting achievements. "I handle the real numbers that actually matter to the bottom line," she'd say when partners discussed ESG compliance strategies I developed for multinational clients. "Kevin just does the fluffy environmental consulting that makes everyone feel good about themselves without any real financial impact or substance." I stood there in my perfectly tailored suit, holding her wine glass like a personal servant, wondering when I'd allowed my successful business to be reduced to tree-hugging in her narrative. The worst part wasn't even the public dismissal. It was recognizing how thoroughly I'd internalized her assessment of my worth, how I'd started seeing myself through her diminishing lens instead of acknowledging the respect I commanded in my actual field. 3 major energy companies had offered to acquire my consulting firm in the past year, yet somehow I felt inadequate at my own wife's work function. Everything changed when Amanda Walsh entered the ballroom. I noticed her immediately, not because of her striking appearance, though she commanded attention effortlessly, but because of the way conversations shifted when she approached different groups. Regional Director Amanda Walsh had a reputation that preceded her, and I watched Lauren's entire demeanor transform from confident hostess to nervous subordinate the moment she spotted her boss across the room. "Oh God, Amanda's here," Lauren whispered, frantically smoothing her dress. "I didn't think she was coming tonight." Amanda moved through the crowd with the kind of natural authority that made people lean in when she spoke, her sharp business acumen evident in every interaction. Unlike the other executives who dominated conversations through volume and ego, she listened intently before offering insights that consistently cut to the heart of complex issues. When she finally reached our group, Lauren immediately launched into an overly enthusiastic introduction. "Amanda, I'd like you to meet my husband Kevin. He does some environmental consulting work, nothing too complicated." I extended my hand, expecting another polite but dismissive greeting. Instead, Amanda's eyes sharpened with genuine interest. "Environmental consulting? What specific sectors do you focus on?" The question caught me off guard. It was the first time all evening someone had asked about my actual expertise rather than treating it as small talk. Primarily renewable energy transitions for large corporations, I replied. Carbon credit optimization, sustainable infrastructure implementation, ESG compliance strategies. Fascinating, Amanda said, and I could tell she meant it. We've been struggling to find qualified consultants who understand both the technical and financial aspects of green energy portfolio management. Most firms either know the environmental science or the investment strategy, but rarely both. Lauren's face tightened as Amanda continued engaging me in detailed discussion. Kevin, what's your take on the new carbon credit regulations affecting multinational portfolios? We're advising clients on restructuring their sustainability investments, but I'd love to hear from someone with hands-on implementation experience. For the first time all evening, I felt valued for my knowledge rather than tolerated for Lauren's sake. The regulatory changes actually create significant opportunities if companies move quickly, I explained. Most firms are viewing them as compliance burdens, but smart corporations can leverage early adoption for competitive advantages and substantial cost savings. Amanda nodded thoughtfully. Exactly what I suspected. Lauren, why haven't you mentioned your husband's expertise during our green finance strategy meetings? His insights could be invaluable for our client advisory services. The question hung in the air like a challenge, and I watched Lauren scramble for an explanation that wouldn't reveal her systematic dismissal of my professional achievements. Well, Kevin's always so busy with his own projects, she stammered. I didn't want to impose on his time. Amanda's expression suggested she wasn't buying the excuse, and her next comment confirmed my suspicion. Kevin, would you be interested in discussing a potential consulting partnership? Your renewable energy expertise combined with our financial strategies could be exactly what our clients need. The breaking point came when Amanda placed her hand supportively on my shoulder while discussing the partnership details. It was a perfectly professional gesture, the kind of encouraging touch successful executives use to build rapport and signal confidence in potential collaborators. I watched Lauren's face contort with jealousy as Amanda asked, Kevin, have you considered expanding into international markets? Your methodology could revolutionize how European firms approach carbon neutrality investments. Actually, I've been developing strategies specifically for the European market, I replied, feeling genuinely excited about my work for the first time in months. The regulatory landscape there creates unique opportunities for early adopters. Brilliant, Amanda said, her hand still resting professionally on my shoulder. We should definitely explore this further. I can see tremendous synergy between your environmental expertise and our financial infrastructure. That's when Lauren completely lost control. Excuse me, she snapped, her voice cutting through the elegant atmosphere like a chainsaw. But I don't appreciate you putting your hands all over my husband at my company event. The ballroom seemed to freeze. Conversations stopped mid-sentence as heads turned toward our group. Amanda removed her hand calmly and faced Lauren with the composed authority of someone accustomed to handling difficult situations. I beg your pardon? Amanda's tone remained professional, but there was steel underneath. You're being completely inappropriate with Kevin, Lauren continued, her voice rising dangerously. This is supposed to be a professional networking event, not some sleazy pickup scene. I won't stand here and watch you seduce my husband right in front of me. The accusation hung in the air like toxic smoke. I felt the weight of dozens of stares, saw phones discreetly raised to capture what was clearly becoming a career-ending meltdown. Amanda maintained her composure with impressive grace. Lauren, I think you're misinterpreting a professional conversation. Perhaps you should step outside and collect yourself. Don't tell me what to do, Lauren snarled. And don't pretend this is about business. I see exactly what you're doing. Kevin, choose right now, her inappropriate flirtation or your marriage. The ultimatum crystallized everything wrong with our relationship into one devastating moment. After years of being dismissed, diminished, and treated like an embarrassing accessory to her life, she was now demanding I reject the first person who'd shown genuine professional respect for my work. Lauren, stop, I said quietly. You're making a scene. I'm making a scene? She's the one groping you in public and offering you some fake business deal to get you into bed. The paranoid accusation shocked even her colleagues, who were backing away from our group as if Lauren's career suicide was contagious. Amanda's professional mask finally cracked, revealing controlled anger. I've heard enough. Lauren, your behavior tonight has been unprofessional, accusatory, and frankly embarrassing to this organization. We'll be discussing this extensively on Monday morning. You can't threaten me, Lauren shot back. I know what I saw. Kevin, tell her you're not interested in whatever she's offering. I looked at my wife, really looked at her, and saw clearly for the first time what our marriage had become. Years of systematic belittlement had led to this moment where she was willing to destroy her own career rather than watch me receive professional recognition. The only thing Amanda offered was respect for my expertise, I said calmly. Something I haven't received from you in years. Lauren's face went white as the implication hit her. Around us, her colleagues were whispering, phones were recording, and her professional reputation was disintegrating in real time. Amanda stepped forward and discreetly pressed a business card into my hand. Kevin, when you're ready to discuss that partnership, call me. You deserve to work with people who value your contributions. As Amanda walked away with dignity intact, Lauren turned on me with desperate fury. You're really going to humiliate me like this? Choose some stranger over your own wife. The question revealed everything about how she viewed our relationship, as a hierarchy where her needs mattered more than basic respect for my accomplishments. I realized that staying meant accepting a lifetime of being treated as her inadequate appendage, while leaving meant finally discovering what I could achieve with someone who saw my worth. I followed Amanda outside, leaving Lauren to face the whispers and stares her outburst had created. The Miami night air felt cool against my skin as I tried to process what had just happened inside. Amanda was waiting by the valet stand, her composure completely restored despite the chaos she'd just endured. I'm sorry about that, I said, approaching her cautiously. Lauren's behavior was completely unacceptable. Don't apologize for her actions, Amanda replied firmly. You're not responsible for someone else's insecurity and unprofessionalism. She turned to face me directly, her expression serious but not unkind. Kevin, I want to be completely transparent with you about something. The business partnership I mentioned isn't just politeness or pity, it's a genuine opportunity that could benefit both of us significantly. I felt a flutter of hope mixed with uncertainty. What exactly are you proposing? My firm is launching a comprehensive green finance division next quarter, she explained. We need someone with your specific expertise to lead our environmental consulting initiatives. Not as a contractor, but as an equal partner in developing sustainable investment strategies for our major clients. The offer was far beyond anything I'd imagined when I'd reluctantly attended this event. What would that look like practically? We're talking about a partnership that could easily generate 18 to 20 million in revenue within the first year, Amanda said matter-of-factly. Your renewable energy expertise combined with our financial infrastructure and client base creates tremendous synergy. You'd have full autonomy over the environmental consulting division while we handle the investment management side. I stared at her, trying to process numbers that dwarfed my current business income. You're serious about this? Absolutely serious. But Kevin, there's something else I need to address. Amanda's tone became more personal. What happened in there with Lauren wasn't just a professional embarrassment, it was a revelation about how she treats you. False harassment accusations are career-ending moves that violate multiple company policies. The implications hit me immediately. She's going to face consequences for tonight? Significant ones. Our firm has zero tolerance for false accusations and public misconduct. Lauren will likely be transferred to a much smaller branch office after mandatory ethics training, assuming she keeps her job at all. Amanda paused, studying my expression carefully. But honestly, Kevin, I'm more concerned about how she treats you personally than professionally. I felt something shift inside me as her words confirmed what I'd been afraid to acknowledge. It's been going on for years, I admitted quietly. The dismissal, the belittling, making me feel like my work doesn't matter. Your work absolutely matters, Amanda said with conviction. You've built something remarkable, and you deserve to be with someone who celebrates your achievements instead of diminishing them. She stepped closer, her voice becoming softer but more intense. Kevin, I have an oceanfront penthouse about 10 minutes from here. Would you like to come up and discuss this partnership in detail? Away from all the drama and noise. The invitation hung between us, loaded with professional opportunity and personal possibility. I looked back toward the hotel ballroom where Lauren was probably still dealing with the aftermath of her meltdown, then at Amanda, who represented everything Lauren had trained me to believe I didn't deserve. Yes, I said simply. I'd like that very much. 8 months later, I stood beside Amanda at the National Renewable Energy Summit in San Francisco, adjusting my conference badge that read, Kevin Walsh, Environmental Visionary, Strategic Partner. The transformation still felt surreal sometimes, but the numbers didn't lie. Our partnership had exceeded every projection we'd made during those late-night strategy sessions in Amanda's penthouse. Ladies and gentlemen, Amanda said into the microphone, her voice carrying across the packed auditorium of industry leaders, I'm proud to introduce the environmental visionary whose innovative strategies have helped our firm secure $18 million in green energy investments and sustainable development contracts in just 8 months. The applause was genuine and sustained, something I'd never experienced at Lauren's company events where my expertise was treated as background noise. Amanda continued with obvious pride. Kevin's carbon credit optimization protocols have revolutionized how major corporations approach renewable energy transitions, saving our clients over $50 million in implementation costs while exceeding their sustainability goals ahead of schedule. I watched the audience of Fortune 500 executives and energy industry leaders leaning forward with genuine interest as Amanda detailed our collaborative successes. My consulting firm had expanded internationally, becoming a leading authority in renewable energy transition strategies for major corporations across 3 continents. The contrast with my previous life was staggering. Where Lauren had systematically diminished my achievements, Amanda showcased them as shared victories and celebrated innovations. Our European expansion, Amanda explained to the captivated audience, was Kevin's strategic vision. He recognized opportunities in the regulatory landscape that our traditional financial analysis had missed entirely. His insights have opened markets we never considered accessible. Living with Amanda had allowed me to reach my full potential in ways I'd never imagined possible. She treated my innovations as valuable contributions rather than interruptions to real business conversations. When I developed new sustainability frameworks, she'd gather her entire team to review my methodologies and implement them across their client portfolio. Where Lauren had rolled her eyes at my late-night research sessions, Amanda would bring me coffee and ask thoughtful questions that often led to breakthrough insights. The solar panel efficiency optimization project Kevin spearheaded last quarter, Amanda continued, has become the industry standard for 3 major energy companies. His methodology reduced installation costs by 30% while increasing energy output by 18%. After the presentation, we were surrounded by executives wanting to discuss partnerships and licensing agreements for my environmental strategies. Amanda stood beside me as an equal partner, introducing me as the strategic architect behind our success rather than her appendage or assistant. The transformation was complete. I'd gone from being dismissed as the boring husband who did something with trees to being recognized as an industry leader whose innovations were reshaping sustainable finance. Kevin, your presentation on carbon neutrality pathways was brilliant, said the CEO of a major renewable energy corporation. We'd like to discuss implementing your strategies across our entire international portfolio. Amanda squeezed my hand supportively as I fielded questions and negotiated preliminary agreements that would expand our partnership even further. The respect in these conversations was intoxicating after years of being treated like my expertise was worthless. That evening, as we celebrated our successful summit presentation in our San Francisco hotel suite, Amanda raised a glass of champagne. To Kevin, she said with genuine admiration, whose vision and expertise have exceeded every expectation and created something neither of us could have achieved alone. I reflected on how dramatically my life had changed since that night in Miami when Lauren's meltdown had inadvertently freed me from a relationship that was slowly destroying my self-worth. Meanwhile, Lauren's professional life had imploded spectacularly following her harassment accusation incident at the Miami Gala. Through industry contacts who still occasionally updated me on her situation, I learned that her career had been systematically dismantled piece by piece. Amanda's firm had conducted a thorough investigation of Lauren's behavior that night, resulting in a formal reprimand, mandatory ethics training, and ultimately her transfer to a small accounting firm in rural Nebraska, about as far from Miami's financial district as the company could relocate her. The contrast between her previous position handling major corporate accounts and her new role processing small business tax returns was professionally devastating. Her divorce settlement had significantly favored me due to my dramatically increased income and international business expansion during our separation. Where she'd once dismissed my environmental consulting as worthless tree-hugging, the courts recognized my expertise as valuable intellectual property that had generated millions in revenue. The irony wasn't lost on me. The work she'd spent years belittling had become the foundation for a financial empire that dwarfed anything she'd achieved in traditional accounting. Through mutual acquaintances, I heard that Lauren still didn't comprehend the depth of her mistakes or acknowledge the systematic pattern of belittlement that had defined our marriage. She characterized years of dismissing my expertise and diminishing my accomplishments as a single bad judgment call on one unfortunate evening. It was just a misunderstanding, she reportedly told anyone who would listen. One bad night that got blown out of proportion. She continued asking mutual acquaintances about me with disturbing frequency, fishing for information about my new life and business success. According to friends who still maintained contact with her, Lauren insisted we'd had a special connection that was destroyed by one misunderstanding rather than acknowledging the years of emotional neglect and professional dismissal that had poisoned our relationship. Her inability to recognize how thoroughly she'd undermined my self-worth demonstrated the same lack of self-awareness that had driven her to make false harassment accusations rather than examine her own behavior. I learned she'd been forced to move back in with her parents in Nebraska, her Miami lifestyle completely unsustainable on her reduced income. The designer clothes, luxury car, and expensive lifestyle she'd maintained during our marriage had evaporated along with her high-paying position. The woman who'd once bragged about handling real numbers that actually matter was now processing payroll for a farm equipment dealership and struggling to make minimum payments on credit card debt she'd accumulated during her final months in Miami. When Amanda and I announced our engagement, several people mentioned that Lauren had reached out asking for details about the relationship timeline, apparently convinced that our partnership had begun before her meltdown rather than accepting that her own actions had created the circumstances that brought us together. Her persistent belief that she'd been wronged rather than acknowledging the consequences of her own choices revealed the same entitled mindset that had made our marriage unsustainable. I felt only detached sympathy for someone who had possessed everything needed for happiness. A successful husband who adored her, financial security, professional respect, but couldn't recognize its value when it was right in front of her. The woman who'd once criticized my environmental work as lacking real financial impact was now watching from rural Nebraska as that same expertise generated international recognition and millions in revenue. 1 year to the day after Lauren's meltdown at the Miami Financial Awards Gala, Amanda and I returned to the exact same ballroom to announce our engagement. The symmetry wasn't lost on either of us. Where I'd once stood humiliated and dismissed as the boring husband who did something with trees, I now commanded the room's attention as Amanda's equal partner and the strategic architect behind a revolutionary approach to sustainable finance. The transformation felt like stepping into an alternate reality where my expertise was finally valued at its true worth. "Are you nervous about being back here?" Amanda asked as we approached the entrance where Lauren had once introduced me with such dismissive condescension. "Nervous?" "No," I replied, adjusting my cufflinks as industry leaders greeted us with genuine respect and excitement. "If anything, I'm grateful. That night changed everything for the better." Amanda squeezed my hand as we entered the ballroom that had witnessed both my professional humiliation and the beginning of my liberation. This time, Colleagues approached us as equals, seeking advice on sustainable investment strategies and requesting partnerships for environmental consulting projects. The difference in how I was treated was stark. Where Lauren's associates had once ignored me or politely endured my presence, these same executives now actively sought my expertise and hung on my insights about renewable energy markets. We spent the evening fielding congratulations on our engagement and discussing the expansion of our business empire into European green energy markets. Amanda had arranged for tomorrow's announcement to international partners, introducing me as the strategic architect behind their global sustainability initiatives. The contrast with my previous attendance at this event was almost comical. Instead of being relegated to fetching drinks and standing awkwardly by the champagne fountain, I was the center of attention as industry leaders competed for access to my environmental consulting expertise. Kevin approached the same senior manager who'd once been interrupted by Lauren when he tried to discuss green finance initiatives with me. "I've been following your carbon credit optimization work. Our firm would like to discuss licensing your methodology for our entire European portfolio." The conversation that Lauren had dismissed as unworthy of my participation was now generating multi-million-dollar partnership proposals. Amanda beamed beside me as I negotiated preliminary terms for consulting agreements that would expand our influence across 3 continents. The respect in these interactions was intoxicating after years of being treated like an embarrassing appendage to Lauren's career. As the evening progressed, several of Lauren's former colleagues approached us with curiosity about our relationship timeline. "We had no idea Kevin was such a heavyweight in renewable energy," admitted one of the accountants who'd witnessed Lauren's dismissive treatment of me. "Lauren always made it seem like environmental consulting was just a hobby. Kevin's expertise has revolutionized our approach to sustainable finance," Amanda replied diplomatically. "His innovations have exceeded every expectation and created opportunities we never imagined possible." I noticed how carefully Amanda avoided criticizing Lauren directly while making it clear that my potential had been completely unrecognized in my previous situation. Later that evening, as we celebrated our engagement announcement in the hotel penthouse where Amanda had first offered me the partnership that changed my life, I reflected on how completely my circumstances had transformed. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if Lauren hadn't made that scene?" Amanda asked as we reviewed tomorrow's presentation materials for our European expansion announcement. "Actually, I'm grateful she did," I said, surprising myself with the sincerity of the statement. Her meltdown forced me to confront how thoroughly I'd accepted being diminished and undervalued. Without that wake-up call, I might have spent years longer in a relationship that was slowly destroying my self-worth. Amanda nodded thoughtfully. "Some people need dramatic moments to recognize their true situation. Lauren inadvertently gave you the greatest gift possible, the realization that you deserved better." Just last week, Lauren had attempted to contact me through professional networking sites, sending messages seeking closure and understanding about our relationship's end. Her communications revealed the same lack of self-awareness that had characterized our marriage, focusing on her feelings of abandonment rather than acknowledging years of systematic belittlement and professional dismissal. I deleted her messages without responding, recognizing that some chapters are better left permanently closed rather than revisited with people who refuse to acknowledge their role in their creation. Tomorrow, Amanda and I would announce our expansion into European green energy markets, with her introducing me to international partners as the visionary behind our global sustainability initiatives. The same expertise Lauren had dismissed as irrelevant tree-hugging was now reshaping how multinational corporations approached renewable energy transitions, generating recognition and revenue that exceeded my wildest expectations from that humiliating night in Miami.